Hi, I'm Paul Glatter, one of the founders of Vet News. We're excited to be here at the IRE conference and demoing our product, the CX tool. So let me tell you first a little bit about Vet News. Vet is a Swedish word that means savvy. We aim to make citizens more savvy about what they read and to make publishers more transparent with the public. To do that, we create software as a service tools that improve the infrastructure for digital trust for publishers. Our CX tool that we're going to show you is a workflow automation system that improves the corrections process for publishers and thereby improves the accuracy of news content on their websites and on the internet. The problem we are solving is that public trust in the news media is at a historic low. Pew Research found 68% of Americans say they lack confidence in news organizations' willingness to admit when they made a mistake. And the Knight Foundation found in 2018 that nearly 90% of citizens said their trust in news organizations depend on the outlet's willingness to openly correct mistakes. We also spoke to dozens of high school, college, and professional newsrooms and found 98% admitted their corrections process is clunky, and they told us they would like a better tool to improve their relationship to their readers. And this is just a quote from one industry leader who validated what we're saying. He said, I think the whole industry tried to sneak out corrections quietly for many years. We can't get away with that anymore. We think he's right. So I spent 10 years at the Wall Street Journal before switching into academia as a professor of journalism. And when I was a reporter, if I made a mistake spelling your name or reporting a fact about your company, you might call or email me or my editor. Those requests often get lost and are subsequently not made. Such requests bounce around a newsroom and eat up valuable time from too many staff members. News organizations often don't have a central place to receive and track these correction requests, and the experience doesn't feel good for the reader or the journalists. So this is a missed opportunity to improve the accuracy of the news report, to thank, reward, and engage the reader for participating in that process. So the solution here is that we knew there was a better way for publishers to improve their credibility with the public. Since at least the 1950s, corrections have involved a fairly standard process. It's just a matter of collecting the right data. Our tool allows newsrooms to collect the data in the format they need by involving the public and condensing the information into our centralized dashboard. Our team installs a small block of code, the length of a tweet, into a publisher's CMS platform. The code surfaces a button at the bottom of every article and invites reader feedback and correction requests. When you fill out a correction request, the data is structured into a way newsrooms need it. The requests then move to the CX dashboard. Our customers, publishers, log into our dashboard to respond and engage with a large number of loyal readers. So news magazines, oh, and by the way, the tool provides a more efficient way to manage this feedback at scale. It improves the accuracy of the content. It strengthens brand loyalty and trust. It reduces newsroom liability by documenting and speeding up response to complaints, and it boosts pathways for membership and subscription revenue. So outside of our industry, some people look down their nose at the news industry and wonder if it's a place where money is changing hands. And certainly we still have a massive industry. If we look at advertising, $404 billion in this news magazine and digital ads, according to McKinsey in 2019. Newspapers alone are still a $109 billion market for advertising worldwide, $26 billion in the US. So we know that there's a market here, and we know our target market are news publishers with digital sites, including newspapers, TV stations, radio stations, and digital-first news organizations. We think that's a large enough addressable market. But also the adjacent market for our product could include any publisher that's concerned about accuracy for their content and the relationship they have with their audience online. So that includes college newspapers, academic publishers, think tanks, large corporations with publications, and others. Our pricing structure right now is $15 a month for smaller publishers and up to $1,500 a month for larger publishers. Where we are, momentum-wise, we received a $75,000 grant last October from Knight Foundation to build and test our product this year. We've built the product, we tested it on 2 of our own sites, and now we have more than a dozen partners lined up who are using the product, including the Tampa Bay Times, which is using it soon. The University of South Carolina has agreed to use it, and West Virginia University, which has already installed it. So we're demonstrating the product for initial enterprise customers. We're installing the product and offering it free this year and next year for college newspapers because of COVID. And we're also offering it free for select individual newsrooms. So if you are interested, we are happy to talk and to see if you could become one of our first test partners in the industry. We believe that data from our initial users will help continue the traction and drive future enterprise sales for the product. These are some of our early partners, and we're grateful to them and to their leaders for helping see the value of this concept. And Lynn Walsh from Trusting News said, "This is needed. If we can make it easier for people to file a correction and to be in touch with us, that helps news organizations build trust." A professor at Indiana Wesleyan who's installed our product on 2 of her student publications, she said that partnering with Vet News gives our students a great advantage. Accountability and accessibility are crucial for any reporting platform, yet often media consumers don't see the results of raising a question. So our team, we have a dynamite team led by journalists, academics, and technologists who spent time, decades really, working at outlets like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Daily News, abcnews.com, and others. Our advisors include a former head of corrections at the New York Times and a former head of the FCC in DC. We are proud to be working on a solution to improve media literacy and the engagement between news media and the public. We're excited to be coming to you with a solution that we think can improve the efficiency, accuracy of your news report, and possibly also improve the revenue and subscriber picture for your news organization. So we welcome your help and would love to work with you. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, Peter Freeby, to show you the product now with a demo.
All right, let's give this a look here. Let me share my screen. Okay, so we have Vet News installed with the CX tool on this publication, Religion Unplugged. So in this demo, let's go through this Bob Dylan article. Let's say I'm a big fan of Bob Dylan, and I scroll in here and I see, okay, my own version of you. What is this? Well, in this section, it says if I do it upright and put the head on straight. Well, since I'm such a big fan of Bob Dylan, I'm going to go and do my research really quick. I'm going to go over here and I look at Bob Dylan's website, and he has his lyrics here. If I scroll down, it actually says put my head on straight, not put the head on straight. So that was not quite done correctly here. So if I scroll down to the bottom here, I've got this button. So as a reader, I can read an article, maybe have an issue with something that's a little bit higher stakes than Bob Dylan, something that's maybe a business evaluation if you're a CEO and they missed a comma or a decimal point. That makes a really big impact on your business reputation if something like that happens. So in this case, we can do the same thing. So I'm going to hit request a correction, and I can start formatting the information here in the way that a publisher actually needs to absorb it to be able to make a change to the publication. So if I go here, I say, what kind of error is this? Well, maybe I'm a really big fan of Bob Dylan, so I'm going to say this is an issue of bias. The whole publication really just doesn't like Bob Dylan. But in this case, I'm going to say this was a typographical issue. So what was the error? I'm just going to fill this out here really quick. Got the lyrics wrong. And my name is Bob Dylan Smith. I'm such a big fan of Bob Dylan, I've named myself after him. So I'm going to put in my email address here. So vetnews.com. And then let's say, okay, so how should this be reworded? So we've got this text up here. So put the head on straight. This should actually be put my head on straight. And right here, what information supports this correction? Well, Bob Dylan's own website supports this correction. So I'm going to copy that link and paste it in right there and create a correction request. All right, correction request was successfully created. So one of the nice things here is that there's an issue if I submit a correction request, or in a current day sense, if people aren't using the CX tool, if I just tweet at an author, I might not actually get a response back. So with this, you get an immediate response back that says, thank you, Bob Dylan. In this case, this was a test version that is named Bob Dylan, not Bob Dylan Smith. But you get this message here that says, thank you for contributing to preserve our accuracy, and also gives us set of standards for what to expect from the editors. So I can expect a response within 72 hours. So now if I switch over to the publisher side of things, let's go to the publisher side here. I'm going to reload the page here, and I've got two different corrections requests. So I have the one that's from Bob Dylan, that was this suggestion here, and then I have one from a big Bob Dylan fan. But both of these are complaining about the same issue, that this lyric was listed wrong. So if I add these two things, I can add them to a group, because they're both the same issue. So I don't have to do this editorial process more than once. So I'm going to name this issue lyric typo. And because we've got Bob Dylan himself here suggesting that this lyric was listed wrong, I'm going to accept this correction request. And that means that we're going to make an actual correction here. Now, if I had something that was maybe not actually an issue, or something that was maybe a complex context question, and it was an opinion article, so you don't necessarily have to make a correction, I can hit reject here, and it's going to change this text to be a soft rejection of, thank you for submitting this correction request, but it's not a super necessary correction here. So these are two messages that once you're done processing a correction request, either one of those messages can then send out to any of the readers who've complained about this issue and give them a final status update that says, okay, we took a look at this. We either are going to make a correction, and we've made it here. Here's the link so that you can go and see it, or we're not going to make a correction request in this case, but thank you for your contribution. So in this case, we are accepting this one. I'm going to hit correction made here so that it fills in my stats, and then let's create correction. So pulls it into a group to be able to read the issue. So again, if you have a more complex issue, something that's maybe related to a climate change story, for instance, where you have a lot of complex science and you need to call a couple of sources before you finally do the proper correction processing here, this pulls this into a folder that I can look at all the correction requests that are related to this lyric typo and see all of the complaints that we've got. Once I have figured out what I'm going to do, I would go into my regular either WordPress, or some people use Squarespace, all sorts of different platforms. I would go into that regular editing platform, make the edit in the text. I can look at the text here just to cross-reference before I make my decision there. So once I've made the edit in the text, I would hit send notifications, and I can send that notification to all the people who submitted the correction request, and everyone's been communicated with, and you really circled the square on an issue that could be a real issue for trusting, having a trust with your audience that people can really depend on. So there's a couple things that makes this really easy to put together. So the first thing is, we said this before, but this is the install process. Copy and paste this block of code into almost any CMS platform. We've tried this on WordPress. We've tried this on a ton of different high school and college systems. And we've tried this on something that's really complicated and pre-built or custom built like Squarespace, or if you have a custom CMS system, anything where you can put in a really simple block of HTML code with just a snippet of JavaScript, it can support any of those platforms. There's very little install process. It takes about an hour to install. And then once you have everything put together, you have a full dashboard. These analytics are still in process, but once the analytics are up, you have a full statistical analysis of how you're dealing with trust with your audience. And it makes it so that you're going to be able to have people trust you and then come back to your publication. So if you have an issue with bounce rate or things like that, this could have a major effect with people being able to return to your website and trust your publication. All right, that's pretty much it. It's a very simple process. 3 points of communication, one with the reader, one with the publisher, and one to finalize the relationship with the reader there, and one really simple install process. I will leave it at that.
Great, thanks, Peter. And again, we welcome anyone to reach out to us at paul@vetnews.com or peter@vetnews.com. We're happy to answer questions, to do another demo with your colleagues. And again, we think that the communication tool built into this corrections management system is also a place where you can communicate with readers, where to follow you on Twitter, how to sign up for your email newsletters. You can offer discounts or rewards for readers engaging with you. So this is an engagement tool that also helps possibly your subscription rates and revenues in the long run. So thanks again to Knight Foundation for letting us be part of the IRE conference. And we look forward to hearing from you at, again, our website, vetnews.com. You can reach me at paul@vetnews.com. You can reach Peter Freeby at peter@vetnews.com. Thanks again. Have a great conference.